Hello, tech community. Welcome to AWS Sheeble's Tech Skills, episode 24. My name is May, and I'm a solutions architect from Amazon Web Services. I hope you all having a great Thursday or Friday, wherever you are tuning in from. If you're first time watching the Sheeble's Tech Skills, welcome. Welcome to the show. Shell's Tech Skill is all about welcoming community and promoting women in technology to showcase their technical skills, their career journey, and then inspire others to get into tech career. So hope you enjoy the show. Let us know where you're joining from. I'm from Australia. Today is a Friday. If you're in the other part of the world, let us know where you're joining from. Today, I have got a special super host, Mai. Hey, Mai.
Hey, May. Hey, everyone. Nice to see you again. And we've been on Twitch a few times already this week with the DevOps Pro certification session series as well. So, May, I know you talk about data engineering bites. What's happening across there, and how can viewers of this show, if you can attend those, benefit out of that?
Absolutely. So if you have seen our show, we usually call out some of the community events that is happening in this month. And if you're tuning in from Australia, and if you're in lucky in those cities that are running the data engineering bites event, which is basically to celebrate the community events, the passions and dedications of data engineers out there to get together to learn more about what is happening in the data engineering space, new tools and technology trends that is happening. And we are coming back in August. So if you're across 4 cities, and I'm going to ask you to share the link if you can. There are tickets selling out. Data engineering bites happening in Perth, Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne. So across those 4 cities. So if you're in those cities and want to check out what is new in the data space and connect with the community, go and check it out. And you can get the promo code from our show and get the 25% discount, I believe. Let me get the promo code for you. So
I posted it in there. So
you already
diversify.
posted.
Yeah.
Thank you. So if you want to go and check it out, please make sure you use the promo code, get the 25% off discount on the ticket. And I'm sure you learn something new on, the data technology, data analytics, analysis, and all the new things that is happening. So that's one event. There are a lot of other events happening. What have you been working on?
Yes, so I will be at the Kubernetes Community Day in Australia, where AWS is a gold sponsor. So we'll have a booth there, along with other sponsors and other open source community members as well. So what is Kubernetes Community Day? It is run by CICD, CNCF, which is a Cloud Native Computing Foundation. We can talk about CICD as well.
There you
And it's
go.
all
Super skills.
all about Kubernetes. And if you come up to our booth, you don't have to talk necessarily about Kubernetes, but we can start from there and talk about containers, because we'll have all the AWS container specialists there that is ready to help you out. So that's running at next Tuesday at the Sydney ICC. What does ICC stand for? Is it International Convention Centre, mate?
Convention Center, yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So
So I'm
hopefully
going to
you'll
share.
see you then.
I'm going to share a link in the chat as well. So if you want to go and check out, if you're in Sydney base, come and check out the Kubernetes workshop in AWS office in Sydney, and then get the free ticket to the community days, the Kubernetes community days. And hopefully I'm going to be there, and I would love to meet you all in person. Would love to learn some security in the container space and then get connected.
Awesome. All right. So we haven't interacted with where everyone is from. So anyone based in Australia, or maybe you're based somewhere else. So keen to hear where everyone's tuning in from.
Yeah, let us know where you're joining from. I can see Aaron's in the chat. Hi, Aaron. Thank you for joining the show.
Oh, we have a few Texans around.
Oh, nice. It's actually it's a spring, but it's still pretty cold here in Sydney.
Yeah, it is kind of cold, but not Sydney cold over here. But
All right. And we can see some questions out there. So, security or DevOps certs, which one? I think you might be confused with one of the show that we host. So myself and my host another show, which is for DevOps, which is called AWS Power Hour DevOps Engineer Professional Certification Show. That is a certification exam prep show that we hosted to help customers or builders to prepare for the exam, to help them gain some of the knowledge on their the exam preparations and help them to get ready for the exam. So that is a different show, and we host them. It is still ongoing. If you want to go and check it out, I will share the link in a minute. So that's happening on Tuesday, 10 a.m. AEST, which is the Australian Eastern Time Zone, or if you're in the other side of the world, I probably have to work it out. What time is it?
I think it's Mondays. Mondays 4:30. Is it 4:30 p.m. or is it 5?
Yeah,
Yeah, something like 4:30
five.
p.m. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pacific Daylight Time. Is it Daylight Time? PT Pacific Time, US, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about exam prep, if you're interested, make sure you go and check it out. The link that I'm just gonna pop it in the chat, AWS Power Hour. There are quite a few shows that are ongoing, and thinking about getting a certification. Make sure you tune in.
Awesome. On that note, we have a special guest today. So Jolie Huang, she is a cloud architect at AWS Professional Services, and she's been at AWS for 5 years, more than 5 years. She started out in premium support and then became a technical trainer, and now a cloud architect. So let's welcome Jolie. And if you have any questions in the meantime, please do post it in the chat.
Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm Jolie. Thanks for having me on the show. Finally get to, be on the show and talk about some tech and also my career journey. So really excited about that.
Awesome. Jolie, before we get into tech, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do at AWS?
Yeah, no, definitely. So I'm a cloud architect in professional services, which is really I just go out to customers and help them with implementation or designing architecture. So I work really closely with customers and really get hands-on, get my hands dirty in the implementation. I will just talk a little bit about how I got into AWS. And so I did my degree in software engineering, and then I started interning at a software company. And that's when, so this software company was fully on cloud. They weren't on, like they didn't have their own servers or anything. And that's how I got introduced to AWS. I started, playing around with their services like CloudFormation and EC2, and it really blew my mind back then on how easy it was to, spin up a server or even do some automation. And that's really when I was like, wow, AWS is really the company that I really want to work for. And so back then I was still based in Wellington, New Zealand, and I moved to Sydney, Australia to work with AWS.
Amazing. Wow, what a journey. And
Yes.
I want to put it into the chat for anyone who is out there, because myself and Mai are solutions architect. Jolie is cloud architect. Does anyone know what we do, the difference between a cloud architect and then the solutions architect?
That's a fun one, isn't it?
It is. If anyone knows about what we do, put it in the chat. I want to know, like, there are a few questions or like myths around like what do we do? Like, do we build? Do we build the demo? Do we build the production applications? Or like, where does solutions architect and cloud architects involved? Let us know in the chat. All right, Jolie. That is amazing. So I just taking a step back before you get into to AWS. Like, what makes you to get into technology? What was the thinking behind, like, okay, I'm going to go and study at the university and then get into tech, or how did you get around like getting into a tech career?
Yeah, so I really got introduced into tech back when I was in high school. And so in Wellington, it's such a small city. Not every high school has, a tech course. And even if it was a tech course, it was really just about learning how to use Excel, or learning how to make spreadsheets. And that wasn't really the tech that luckily I wasn't exposed to that course. And so they had a new course in high school, which was really teaching you how to program. And so I was learning
Wow.
really, really basic programming languages, and even, building websites using HTML. And I was really interested in doing that, and being able to create something of my own, like being able to create websites, being able to write code. And that really interested me. And I also realized that that's something that I was also good at. And so I decided to pursue a degree in it and then a career. So it was not
Nice.
a complicated path. It was really just me trying it out, and I
Yeah.
was good at it, and I continued to pursue it.
That's amazing. And it's really good to have that exposure early in the, like school days, where you can try it out, test it, whether you're like really passionate about it, and you see how you can go from there. So that's amazing. I know Mai
Yeah,
has been
that's right.
waiting to ask some questions. Mai, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. Now, you mentioned HTML. This is kind of a side question, and it kind of conjured up my image of dealing with MySpace. I know you're probably too young to understand what MySpace might have been, but all the old school people probably know what MySpace is. But
It's
tinkering
like
with
a
HTML
older
to create
version of
MySpace.
Facebook.
Yeah, you could say that. I think that's one of the first social media. It's probably not the first social media sites, but yeah, I would put it out there as one of the first.
Yeah.
Who remembers MySpace? Who's old enough to remember MySpace? Anyway, sorry, went off topic there. So, like for you, what advice would you give for those people that are trying to get into the tech sector? What's the
I've actually, yeah, I've actually got a lot of advice that's, very relevant. So I think first things first is to build that foundational tech skill. Either, study it by watching YouTube videos, doing a degree in it. There's actually a lot of content out there in the web. That gives you that exposure to build that technical foundation. You can also do certifications to help with that, and obviously the best way is to just get experience by interning or doing some graduate programs in that tech space to give you that experience. I would specifically look for experience that gives you exposure to the cloud. Um, and because that's how I got into AWS as well. What my role was really to do with creating those resources in cloud, and that's how I got exposed to it. So building foundational skills, foundational tech skills is the first one. And the second one is really working on problem solving. So if you find issues, really try to, build that mindset of being able to think like a problem solver, and because practice makes perfect. So that's because all the issues that we encounter in my daily role is really problems that I need to find solutions to really quickly as well. So being able to think fast is also another really important aspect, because you could be on a meeting and a customer might ask you, hey, there's this issue, like what would you do to, find a solution to this? And you really have to think on your feet and be able to give them that advice based on your past experience. And the third one is, I think this applies to all roles, no matter what experience you have, junior, mid-level, senior. this applies to all roles, is really to be very proactive in your role. Be proactive in finding opportunities to improve what you're currently working on, or being proactive in finding issues and, being able to resolve them. Because as a cloud architect, we work really close with customers. And what I often do is I try to be really proactive when I help them build the solution or even design it, because when I, try to find those opportunities for improvement, that's really how we, provide that value to our customers. So even if you're not working directly with customers, even if you're working on your team, your teammates will really appreciate if you're really proactive in finding those opportunities to improve either some processes or some documentation or some kind of solution. And that's really how you build your reputation and really get recognized in tech and in your team, that you are really proactive and you are a problem solver and you are great at doing that implementation to solve problems.
Yep, that's an awesome response. And being proactive is definitely something that an SA needs to do as well. So there seems to be a bit of overlap. And I have this question, well, not question, comment from Borghetti G. So do you agree with cloud architect being the reference point for all IT technicians in enterprise versus solutions architect is the solution professional architecture for enterprise? What's your view of this? I'll start off with you, May.
I think there are some overlap in the cloud architect and solutions architect. My personal experience and then the view that I work with cloud architect in my team is solutions architect is in the beginning of the project, or even the project hasn't been there defined yet. So there are some ambiguity around how to actually start off the project or the idea. There's an idea from the business. Solutions architect will bridge the gap between the business and technical. Like, this is your idea, and this is how you could build it out. Here is how you design the solution in the earlier stage of the life cycle. And once the project kick off, like for me, solutions architect take a step back a little bit, and that's where cloud architect and customer teams or like builders come in to actually build it out the project or build it out the applications like ongoing. So that comes down like a little later in the life cycles of like project life cycles. That's how I see it. But we still build things as a solutions architect, but we mostly build a demo or from the ideation to actually get the visual of this is how you could do it from a POC point of view. But I don't write a production code these days, but where Jolie would do, I was so that's how I see it. What about you, Mai?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're focused on the demo and a proof of concept side, and professional services will take a little bit more further if you're a cloud architect with the customer. So they'll be looking at real integrations with what they currently have within the enterprise or organization. So yeah, they'll be getting their hands dirty most of the time. What are your thoughts, Jolie?
Yeah, no, totally agree with you both. So as much as I would like to, I don't really work with solution architects that much. I work with more of the customer side, because once the solution architect has, really defined that project in terms of what the customer wants, we then come in and do that implementation. So we get really close with the customer environment. So we build in their development environment, which then gets promoted to test and then to production. So the code that we help customers write could actually potentially is very likely that to go into production. So we work really close with the customers. I would think of myself as, just being with the customer as a part of the customer engineering team. So I work with their engineers most of the time to help them, advise them, even lead them to get that solution into production.
Yeah, so you're guiding them all the way to production. Basically, that's what cloud architects do,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, awesome.
Yes.
All right, before we head on to the demo, one more shout out to Jack Programming. So looks like he's been dealing with MySpace or something similar. So cool backgrounds and mouse icons. Yeah, I remember those. Maybe everyone's too young to remember those things.
That's the
Oh,
most advanced features that you can do on MySpace.
Awesome. On that note, shall we go to a demo?
Yes, I think so. And before I open up the demo, Jolie, tell us a little bit about the topic of this month. I know we're going to talk about Amazon Connect. Very high level, what is it? What was the demo is about, and what we're going to see today?
Yeah, so Amazon Connect is a contact center service. It really helps customers be able to spin up contact centers really quickly. So if you have ever tried it, or if you do have an AWS account, I would strongly recommend that you go into Amazon Connect and try and start up a contact center. It's really quick. It takes a few minutes to deploy and set up. So once you set that up, you can actually start calling into that number that they've provided as part of the contact center, and you can call in and see what the Amazon Connect has created by default, and then play around with it and really create your own contact center and just have fun. So I've had like tons of contact centers in my own AWS account just because I was playing around with it, and it really helped me learn Amazon Connect.
Absolutely. No, that's great. And I hope everyone's waiting for the demo time. So Jolie has got a demo, and I'm going to put it on the stream, and let's see what we have.
Yeah, so before we start the demo, so just to give you a little bit of background, the demo, I'm just going to explain it as part of a story. So Sophia is a character as part of this demo, and she's just come back from a business trip. So I don't know if you're playing the video yet. May let me know if you are. Oh, okay. I guess you can start now.
Yep.
Thank you. So Sophia just came back from a work trip, and she, thinks that she's developed some COVID symptoms. And so she logs into the government website and starts, wanting to request some COVID test kits. And so you can see here that she's trying to request for some COVID test kits, and she realizes, hey, it's actually time to pick up her daughter from daycare. And normally in web chats, you would have to either end the chat and come back and start a new one, or you leave it and it becomes inactive, and then it eventually just closes by itself. Now, Sophia wants to continue this chat, to continue ordering those COVID test kits. So what she's going to do is she's going to switch to another mobile device, just so she can be on the go, be able to still connect to the chat and order those COVID test kits. So she goes into Messenger and asks and says, hello, is anyone available to chat? And then it recognizes that, there's an existing chat open, and she wants to continue the chat. And so she can see the chat history of the previous 3 messages, and she continues the chat from there. And then she realizes that she's left the building and she's run out of internet, like she doesn't have internet connectivity. And then she switches to her text message and starts messaging that phone number for the business. And again, it recognizes that she has an existing chat, and she says yes, she wants to continue it. And again, it prints out the chat history of the previous 3 messages, and then she continues the chat from there. And after she picks her daughter from daycare, she comes back to her web chat, and she can see the full chat history of the different platforms that she used, so Messenger and text message, all in that same chat, because it uses the same chat contact for this.
That's amazing. So how does it recognize? That will be my first question. How does it recognize Sophia is the same person across all 3 different platforms?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So Sophia, when she logs into Facebook Messenger, there's a unique ID that's associated with it. And that's also, so I have a mapping that ties it to the phone number. And then whenever she switches the platform to Messenger, to SMS, it just goes through a table, like a database, and looks up that phone number. So if there is an existing chat, it will go through and find it in that table, and then get that unique chat contact ID to continue the same chat.
Now, speaking of the chat, how do you connect Facebook Messenger to the chat contact with the phone number?
Yeah, so there's definitely a blog post that you can follow to do this. So you can Google it to find the blog post, but in simple terms, you'll set up a business Facebook page, and then when the user first interacts with your business Facebook page, they will have a unique user ID, and with that unique user ID, you can map it to a phone number. So some registration logic needs to be in place for this. And then I store this mapping into customer profiles, Amazon Connect customer profiles.
Yeah, awesome. Customer profiles. Now I'm just going to take it to the audience. Has anyone heard of Amazon Connect? I'm curious to know if you've heard of it, seen it, keen to try it. So put it in the chat there. It's a pretty cool solution. You can easily set up a call flow literally in minutes. All right, May, I think you had more questions for Jolie.
I do, because I'm interested to know now that Sophie can connect different, different devices. And you mentioned about customer profile. How does customer profile works in the Amazon Connect? And are there any other features that it can leverage?
Yeah, so you can think of customer profiles as a database for storing the customer information, and it's a feature that's built into Amazon Connect. You just have to click the checkbox to enable it, and it's really useful if you have customer information across multiple apps that you want to put together into one profile. So for this example, I've got the customer information in Facebook, and then I've got it in the text message as well. So I want to store all that into one profile. So for a normal customer that use Amazon Connect, they might have customer information that's spread across different applications, and they would want to put that. So if they used Amazon Connect customer profiles, it'll be really easy for them to see everything in one place. And so, for example, with my demo that I just showed, I could have created my own database to store the mapping between the phone number and then the Facebook user ID. But then there's already a built-in customer profiles feature. So I just stored everything in there. It was really easy to turn on. And it's also got APIs that's provided as well, so it's really easy for me to set it up and just use it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Cool, awesome. If there's any questions from Jolie, please drop it in the chat. But now I think I do have another question. So I guess like on the Connect demo, like once you have set up customer profiles and all the chat, but what about the agent that actually is behind the Amazon Connect? So like, what are the other features that Amazon Connect can do? Like for the customer, that's like amazing. But I have heard and I have seen of like other features that Amazon Connect can do, like sentiment analysis, perhaps, and other cool features.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so sentiment analysis is definitely a really cool feature that's part of Amazon Connect. So with the, especially through chat, it can do it through voice as well. So with the chat, especially for this demo, it will be able to see the chat history and do sentiment analysis with it. So it doesn't matter if the chat is interacting with a bot or a agent, it will be able to do sentiment analysis. And just for this demo, it doesn't involve an agent at all. It's really just talking to a bot. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
no,
cool. That feature is called Contact Lens, the sentiment analysis
Yes,
part of
that's right.
All right. So we put a question out to the audience. Have you heard about Amazon Connect? Nope. So many services to keep up with, and I guess that's part of our, especially our solutions architect at AWS. We have to keep up with all the new features and new services. We have over 200 plus, but there's a service for everything. And yeah, what are your thoughts around this, May?
I mean, that's correct. That's why it's like we have to take a time to actually learn about new things that's coming out, and there are so many services, and on top of that there are new features for each of those services coming out every day. So sometimes my customer knows a little bit more ahead of me, and they know more like updates that's coming up. They're like, hey, this is the new feature, can you tell us more about it? And I'm like, okay, I have to go and study.
Yeah, there's just so many new services and features. So what I try to do is just, understand at a high level what the service does. And
Yeah.
if I need to learn more about it, then I dig deeper. But most of the time, for my role anyway, I only deal with certain services as part of the project. And so I really just go and learn those ones and really dive deep into them. For other services, I just make sure that I know what it is at a high level and what it does.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what about you, Mai? How do you keep up?
Yeah, we're supposed to have this day called Sharpen the Saw Day, where we double down on learning, but it's very hard to have that kind of day. Yeah, but yeah, not supposed to do this, but you work over the weekends and after hours and continue to learn. I did a really cool Coursera course around large language models and generative AI. So that's an AWS course if anyone's interested. Yeah, so I don't know if there's a link somewhere that you could drop somewhere, mate. I think we
I
talked
will
about it last
try.
time anyway. Yeah.
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 It's on my list to study. So if anyone want to go and check it out, Coursera, there is a Gen AI with large language model course is also available. So it has been a lot, like a lot going on in the Gen AI space. So it is a good idea to keep up with what is happening in this industry and the trends. So it's on my list to go and check it out.
Awesome.
Alrighty. I think we are about the time. I just want to say thank you so much, Jolie, for joining the live streaming today. And we still like if anyone have any questions on Jolie or on the topic or just in general, please drop in the chat in the last minute questions. But we will close it out. We do this live show every month, and if this is the first time, thank you for joining. But we will have another episode on the same time next month. If you missed out on this, or if you want to go back and listen and have a look at the Amazon Connect, please go and check out our YouTube channel. We also got a podcast. So if you're on the run, go and download the podcast. And we do have not just for the APJ like Australia and New Zealand, we do have a global she builds tech skills team in the North America and EMEA region. So go and check out those podcasts. There are different range of topic happening all across the world. So make sure you stay tuning for that. And thank you for everyone for joining the live streaming today. And I hope you all have a good Friday or Thursday wherever you are.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.
See
ya.
you. Thank you.